Welcome to Max Mello's Architects of Soul, where the groove meets the grind. I'm Max Soul.
And I'm Mello Soul.
And today we are breaking it down for one of the most powerful forces in soul, funk, and artist freedom. Yeah, a man who pioneered funk by stripping soul to its rhythmic essence, tight syncopated grooves with aggressive horn sections and bass lines. He produced his own records, directed his band like a general, and emphasized live performance feel in the studio recordings that they did, owning publishing rights, managing his own label, which was called People Records, and creating a model for artist entrepreneurship way long before it was possible. The Godfather himself, Mr. Dynamite, the hardest working man in show business, James Brown.
Yes, man, this brother wasn't just music, he was a movement.
Oh, God, yes.
He changed the sound, the studio, and the system. We're talking rhythm, control, and straight-up independence. Get ready because we're about to unpack a musical and entrepreneurial genius. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hi. So let's start with the sound, Mello. Before James Brown, soul music as we knew it was often sweet, layered, and melodically focused. If you think about the smooth soaring vocals of a Sam Cooke or the intricate harmonies of a Jackie Wilson, well, it's beautiful music. I mean, absolutely beautiful music. But James, he approached it like a sonic surgeon. He stripped it down to its raw, percussive heart, finding that philosophy of the undeniable pocket and making it the absolute star of the show. And that shift in his philosophy made a difference. And there's where funk came from.
Exactly. He wasn't looking for lush, complex melodies. He wanted the groove.
Yeah, the groove.
That primal, relentless, hypnotic pulse that grabs you from the first beat. That's precisely where funk was truly born, not as a subgenre, but as a revolutionary sound. He took the emotional intensity of gospel and the raw energy of R&B, boiled them down, and reshaped them to create something that made your body react before your mind could even process it. It was about raw, kinetic energy.
Right, and this funk wasn't just a style. It was rebellion through rhythm. Think about iconic tracks like Papa's Got a Brand New Bag or Cold Sweat. These weren't background music. They were front and center, a visceral physical force. Whoa, that's some shit. Every single instrument in that band, from the bass to the drums, the guitar stabs, and even the horns, all punching precisely on the one, funk. Oof, this created an incredibly dense yet paradoxically spare rhythmic tapestry where every silence was as important as every note. And he famously demanded his musicians don't just play the notes, play the rhythm. He wanted them to treat every single beat like a downbeat, cultivating this relentless driving pulse that pulled you onto the dance floor whether you wanted to or not. And I think personally that that's the beginning of Four on the Floor in dance music. Even though James never did
Right.
Four on the Floor, it's still that was the way that they would keep people out, by keeping the beat going. James just did it better.
And let's not forget the incredible backbone of his sound, which is his band. It was tight like a snare head, a well-oiled machine. No fluff, just pure, concentrated fire. Musicians like Bootsy Collins on bass with his revolutionary syncopation, Clyde Stubblefield on drums, and don't forget those horns, Fred Wesley and Maceo Parker and Pee Wee Ellis.
Or Joppo Starks on drums, too. Don't forget about him. Because
Yeah, that's
they
right. He had
two
two
of the
drummers.
baddest drummers in the world.
Yeah, they weren't just players. They were legendary architects of his sound, driven by James's exacting ear and demanding leadership. He insisted on discipline and almost military-like precision in their timing and attack, making every single member a crucial cog in the rhythmic machine. His ability to mold and direct these incredible talents is a testament to his genius.
James fundamentally redefined what a band could do, not as a collection of soloists, but as a single, breathing, rhythmic entity. It wasn't just about the individual's virtuosity. It was about collective rhythmic power, an undeniable force, and in doing so, he essentially built the rhythmic foundation that hip-hop would later sample for decades, and they sure did, creating a sonic blueprint that transcended genre, influenced an entire new musical culture, and continues to resonate today. The impact of his breaks alone is immeasurable, and may I just point out Funky Drummer as being like the most sampled beat.
Oh, it is definitely, by far. And when we come back, we'll talk about JB, the studio general. And we'll be right back with more Architects of Soul, so stick with us.
Yeah, keep it right here. We'll be right back.
Now here's where it gets even deeper, Max. James Brown wasn't just a performer who happened to record. He was a meticulous craftsman who ran his sessions with an iron fist and an unparalleled sonic vision. Like a general commanding his troops, like a coach drilling his team, he was a visionary who understood the studio not just as a place to capture sound, but as an instrument in itself, a place to sculpt and refine his unique musical concepts.
He did not just step up to the microphone and sing, right? He was intricately involved in every aspect of the recording process. He arranged every part meticulously. He produced his records, a rarity and a bold move for any artist, let alone a black artist in that era. He would literally tell horn players exactly when to stab a note, what to drop out, when to build the tension, and how to punctuate the groove. He used hand signals, intense verbal cues, even singing particular parts individually to his musicians during takes, ensuring his artistic vision was fully realized down to the most minute detail of the rhythm.
Yeah, his primary goal in the studio was to capture that raw, live energy, that visceral, kinetic feel of a James Brown performance. He wanted the listener to feel like they were right there in the audience, bathed in the sweat and electricity of his stage show, even when listening to a vinyl record. He famously prioritized feel over absolute technical perfection. He often recorded basic tracks live with the whole band playing together in one room, believing that spontaneous interplay and collective energy were paramount. He understood that sometimes the imperfections, those raw edges, actually added to the unique magic and authenticity of the recording.
You know, and it's true because if you ever saw the band, and I was lucky to work with them at the Apollo, and they, as a band, their synchronicity together in the groove was unbelievable. Like they just locked in and never let go. And that I'm telling you, the one was hardcore up in there. I was never so impressed in my life by a band and a crew like that, because that's been James Brown. He had that band for a very long time, and they all understood how to make that funk go, and they were so good at that. So this dedication to sound, well, it extended to uncompromising demands. He famously wouldn't hesitate to fire any musician on the spot if they didn't hit the groove right or follow his precise directions. Sometimes even in mid-song. It's a little much, but hey, James knew what he wanted. So that's how serious he was about maintaining his signature sound and ensuring his vision was perfectly executed. His creative control was absolute. He was the sole architect, from the first note played to the final mix. This level of autonomy was practically unheard of for a black artist in the 60s, as most were beholden to label producers. And as we know, label producers had a lot of sway back then, right? James Brown broke that mold, setting a powerful precedent for self-direction and artistic integrity in the studio, proving that the artist could and should be the ultimate authority on their sound. He truly was the master of his domain, Mello.
And when we come back, we hit on the JB, the artist as entrepreneur.
So don't go anywhere. Lock it right in here on Max Mello's Architects of Soul. Hey, welcome back to Max and Mello's Architects of Soul. I'm Max Soul.
And I'm Mello Soul. All right, Max, we've talked about James Brown's revolutionary sound, his mastery in the studio, but now let's pivot and talk business, because James Brown didn't just innovate sonically, he fundamentally innovated ownership in the music industry. This is where he truly became a trailblazer, setting a precedent that artists are still following today.
Absolutely, Mello. This man was a visionary. He owned his publishing, his masters, even his record label, People Records. I mean, think about the era, the 60s. While most artists, especially black artists at that time, were routinely exploited by labels and publishers, and boy, do we have stories about that, dating back to all musicians and all writers back in the day. So it's a big thing that James did. So often signing away their rights for meager advances and rarely seeing a dime from their compositions or recordings was not on James Brown's plate. He was like, no. James was different.
He wasn't having it.
No, he understood the business, demanded his worth, and strategically secured ownership of his intellectual property. This wasn't just about pride. It was about long-term wealth generation and control over his creative legacy.
He wasn't waiting for permission from the established industry. He actively created his own lane. Beyond just his label, in the middle of a deeply segregated landscape, he even had significant interests in radio stations. That's next-level control, not just over the creation of his music, but over how it was distributed and how it reached the masses. He bypassed traditional gatekeepers. He established a comprehensive model for entrepreneurship long before it became a buzzword, truly operating as an independent entity before it was widely conceived as a viable path for mainstream success. He was building an empire, not just a career.
He literally turned the music business on its head by demonstrating that an artist could be more than just a performer. Not that he wasn't a badass performer, because
Right.
James Brown
was the best,
set the dial for artists today, and we still see it in Bruno, and we saw it in Prince.
And Michael.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just so many people. So when you think about it, right, it wasn't just about getting paid. Okay, that was certainly part of it. But the crucial thing for him was about setting a precedent for artistic freedom and economic independence. He saw the bigger picture, owning the intellectual property, controlling the distribution channels, and ultimately building an empire that transcended record sales. He proved that the true power lay in self-determination and financial autonomy, inspiring countless artists to take charge of their careers.
The impact of that blueprint is undeniable. Artists like Prince followed it, fiercely guarding his masters in publishing. Jay-Z built on it, creating his own labels and business ventures. Beyonce has finessed it, becoming a global brand and owning her narratives. But James Brown wrote the original blueprint, demonstrating that artistic integrity and financial independence could and absolutely should go hand in hand. He showed them how to be the CEO of their own artistry.
Damn straight, and we'll be right back.
And we're back talking legacy.
And that legacy, Mello, well, it's not just a chapter in music history. It's a living, breathing force you can hear everywhere, not just in funk, but his fingerprints are all over hip-hop, R&B, EDM, pop, even rock and jazz fusion. His influence is so pervasive, so deeply ingrained that it's often subtly embedded in modern music, a foundational element many might not even consciously recognize.
You simply can't talk about hip-hop without talking about James Brown. He's the undisputed rhythmic godfather of the genre. His drum breaks, his guitar riffs, his bass lines, they are, without exaggeration, some of the most sampled in history. Like you were talking about earlier, Funky Drummer, that alone, that single drum break has been used in thousands of songs.
Yeah, thousands.
It became a cornerstone, practically a whole hip-hop catalog by itself. And it provided the raw, unadulterated rhythmic foundation for an entire new musical movement. literally supplying the essential building blocks, the raw materials for producers to chop, loop, and create something entirely new. He gave hip-hop its pulse.
What's quite amazing is because at that time, when that was coming out, sampling had just started, and it's not like today where you just drag it into the DAW and it becomes like locked. You had to truncate it. You had to figure out how the sample worked in what you were doing.
And you had to cut it exactly on the beat.
Exactly. And so it would loop properly. And oh my God, it was amazing. James pioneered so much that it is, it's truly unbelievable. From the early days of Public Enemy and NWA to the contemporary beats of today, his grooves are omnipresent. But his influence extends far beyond direct sampling. Think about the way artists command the stage, the sheer force of their performance. His influence permeates the work of countless major artists, from the flamboyant showmanship, genre-bending artistry, and fierce independence of Prince, to the unparalleled vocal prowess, intricate choreography, and stage command of Michael Jackson. The raw power and meticulously crafted immersive performance of Beyonce, and the entrepreneurial spirit of the lyrical rhythm of Jay-Z. The swagger, that relentless energy, that commitment to the groove and the show, well, it all stems from James Brown. He taught artists how to truly command an audience, how to make every movement count, and how to deliver an unforgettable, transformative experience that transcended just playing notes.
That's right. He wasn't just an entertainer. He was a cultural force, a movement all his own. He showed artists what was truly possible if you fully owned your craft, your business, and your artistic vision. His insistence on rhythm as the primary driver, his aggressive horn lines that punctuated every beat, his unparalleled showmanship, and his pioneering entrepreneurial spirit, it's all still profoundly relevant today, echoing in chart-topping hits, independent artist strategies, and the very structure of the music business. His impact is a living legacy, continuing to shape the sound and business of popular music across the globe.
And we will be right back to wrap up the show. So, Mello, what's the ultimate takeaway from the incredible legacy of the Godfather of Soul, James Brown?
Well, here's the blueprint he left us.
Tell me.
Sound innovation, meaning finding what makes your music uniquely yours and strip away the unnecessary.
And he was good at that.
Total control of the studio, because ownership of your creative process is power.
The general.
And business mastery, showing that artistic freedom thrives with financial independence.
You bet, Mello. James was a master of his craft, a very shrewd businessman, and an absolutely unparalleled performer, which I saw firsthand for myself. Unbelievable. He didn't just entertain, he educated, he inspired, laid down a blueprint for independence and innovation that truly continues to resonate across the music industry. He brought us the definition of funk and showed us how to own your art inside and out.
Respect to the architect, respect to the blueprint, respect to the one, baby, and know that that's why the man was and always will be the Godfather of Soul.
Hell yes, I could not agree more. So I tell you, we are seeing all these groundbreaking artists that we have talked about, each have had a major effect on all the major R&B artists today, including ourselves. And this roadmap that they make, well, all the top artists have followed it, right? And we're just following it along too. And that's what makes the music very familial. The R&B music is a family. All the artists, well, they teach upcoming generations, the one below them, including us, right? So on the new vibe, that's us. And we, along with our contemporaries, passing that message on to the next generation of artists, which is what we want to do. We want to move on. Remember, you can't keep it if you're not willing to give it away. That's right. So we'll be back next time with another legend, the fabulous and impactful Marvin Gaye. So until then, stay funky and stay fearless, and remember,
keep that soul fire burning, protect your sound, nurture your creativity, own your voice, and remember the lessons from the giants who came before. And yes, protect your masters and seek out wise mentors who can guide you on your journey.
Amen. Peace and soul, y'all.